It has been a day. I fought that tire over there for about 2 hours. It's not coming off, but it doesn't leak. So that means we can leave it. I've also discovered, I'm just gonna grab that since I'm already covered in it, but I've also discovered that 802 hours of use means that your axle input is gonna be worn. There's nothing we can do about that though.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is another beautiful day. We're here in the shop doing a fun little project. I bought the cheapest mower that I could find. It actually came from a friend of mine, and it's seen some use. Today we're going to be doctoring it up a little bit. I've already been at it. Let's talk about what I've done. Let's go over some of the issues this thing has. It's got 802 hours. It hasn't seen a day of love in its life, I think. It's perfect. You can see that this tire is going flat. That's not a big deal, because that one's gonna get changed because that tire is smaller than this tire, even though it's flat. So the entire mower kind of sits like this. It's what I'm talking about when I say the front tires have play. You can see that those bushings are far from new, and they've seen some use. Now you can see that the front tires are kind of towed in like that. That's because I didn't want to find new bushings for the front tires. You could get them, I'm sure. But let's face it, we don't know how long this thing is gonna last. It may throw a rod the first time we mow with it. So what I did was I came up with a creative solution. I sliced the top of the spindle about halfway, and then I took a hammer and I beat it down a few degrees, and then I re-welded it. And now when it sits on these tires, they don't rub. Top quality, minty. These steps here were so full of rust and shmoo, rotting grass and whatnot, they began to rust this really bad. So I took out these rubber pads, wire wheeled this really good, and then sprayed it with some Hunter Green. And that sealed it right back up and made it look a lot better. Par for the course, typical old plastic. They don't build them to stand up to years and years of use, but wasn't a problem when it was new. But right down there is the muffler, so all that heat comes up in here and then dries out the plastic, and then it cracks. Now I repaired it with some aluminum flashing plates and some self-tapping screws. And then before I put the plates on, I put some shmoo, some silicone, in behind the plates to act like some glue. And it's kind of gluing it all together. This one kind of disintegrated though when I ran that sheet metal screw in there. She's definitely seen some use. Now the guy who owned it before me was probably trying to keep it from breaking, trying to keep it to where the hood will stay on, and he just used some big washers, but all that did was make it break. So I came up with the ingenious idea of putting some shmoo, some clear silicone around here, and then putting all the hardware on. And what that will do is it will act as a shock absorber. When the engine runs, no longer will all of the vibration be transferred into the plastic. It will be transferred into the shmoo. See how we got that shmoo on there, that silicone? So that's how I fixed that problem. Now that we've got it raised up on the old lift here, we'll check out the underside. You're gonna love this. This is the underside. Now that slapping you here when you shut it off is doing that right there. So we're gonna hammer some of these fingers over and get that to stop doing that. But this is how I fixed the transmission. And you can see somebody's already been in here. I didn't do that thing right there, but it was on there, and I don't have time to fix it right or order the right linkage. So it kept moving, and then sometimes you wouldn't be able to get it shifted into gear. So I had to just take some wire, wrap it up and through the turnbuckle, and then pull it back over here. And that solved all of the shifting problems. Not the best looking repair, but it's a repair nonetheless, depending on who you ask. Now this here is your parking brake, and when I got it, it didn't work at all. That's because somebody had put a spring in here that would not really pull over on this lever. I had to rip that out of there. And then I took some general purpose wire and wrapped it around there. And now it works pretty good. Now let's take a look at the deck. You guys are gonna love this. This thing is far from new. Now here's the deck. It was Yardman green, and then whoever ran it until it was rust colored decided that they would rebuild it with some Rust-Oleum, and that's about as far as they got, I think. They did weld a patch here where it's all blown out. They painted it with some hunter green. Now, when my friend was unloading this, the deck got caught on his trailer, and then that happened. So that's evidently gotten weak from years of rust, and that's ripped off. So we're gonna fix that. Somebody's already plated it up there. Let me show you guys the blades. Oh man, it's not very heavy because most of it has rusted away. These are the blades. Now you can see they've seen some use, but honestly, if you just ground on those a little bit, they'd be like new. We're gonna change the blades. We've got some work to do. That's really what we're doing here today, is we're gonna sandblast this, rebuild the deck, and get it painted. All right, we've got the slop and the electronic clutch taken up and fixed. The weld looks like the elephant's foot at the Chernobyl reactor, but we are successful. Look at this. Oh, just a little bit of play now. When something as clapped out as this thing, you're lucky if it just has a little bit of play. But no more tapping when it shuts off. Love it. Okay, we got her blasted. Here it is. It's clean enough. Not perfectly clean, but doesn't have to be. At the end of the day, this is just gonna get rusty and covered in grass again. And then we have the sides here clean enough to paint. It's just gonna be under some black paint, and after a while it's gonna rust. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a quick and dirty fixed up job. All right, we got her here in the shop. This is what we're working with. Don't know, there ain't supposed to be a hole here. So we're just gonna take our hammer, pound that in, and get it ready to weld a patch over top of it. It's ready to plate up. We've also got this pulled back around as close as I can get it. I think it's close enough for us to weld on. Got that re-welded. Doesn't look too terrible. I went over it 2 times just to make sure we got back to some fresh meat over here. I think I'm also going to put a plate on the back side. Now we're going to plate this up. Got our little piece installed. I love 18 gauge. Really pliable. Yeah, thick enough to withstand some use. First patch installed. Let's patch this one up. And there we go. Had to end up adding one right here because it was a little thin right here, so I just added one. Let's flip it over and start on the bottom. Yeah, it's definitely what some use looks like. Already been plated up there. Yeah, we're just gonna pound this in and try to get it welded up to the plate. Let's keep going. And here is the finished deck. We're gonna move into paint. I put some gear oil on that crack. I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee and let that soak in. Hopefully that'll get in there and re-liquefy some of that dry grease. That one ain't too bad, but yeah, that one's kind of growly, so I don't want to change that unless I absolutely have to. Got the bulge here cut away that was full of dirt, and that was causing a lot of rust. So now any water that gets in there can drain through those cracks where I didn't fill it in with weld. Did the same thing here. I left that bottom open. Yes, those are beautiful welds. Don't give me too hard of a time, but it is ready to paint. Let's get it done. Okay, time to paint. We got our dark machine gray here. We're gonna do the bottom with this. I think it's a pretty good paint. I use it a lot here. It's pretty durable. Gonna just lay it on thick, give it the maximum amount of protection against rust. Okay, we've got the underside all painted, put it on thick and quick. Now we're gonna start in with the black. I have chosen flat black because it dries uniformly and it is easy to touch up if I have to bring this back in and repair it anytime soon. Next thing I'll probably have to do is change that spindle. But yeah, we're going to now paint the parts on the bottom of the deck right in here with this black, and then we will flip it over to finish it out. Okay, look at this. Here is the freshly sprayed product. I went with that matte black because you can just paint everything with it. Looks pretty good. Everything fits. Once it dries, it will be matte like you see there. Wish I would have just taken the time and got it completely sandblasted. Those specks are the paint that I didn't blast all the way off. It is what it is though. It's not a super high-end mower, and this is probably the last time this deck is gonna get revamped before that thing is a pile of scrap. Now we're going to head to Rural King while that's drying and get some new blades for this puppy. All right, we're here at Rural King. Looks like we got them. It's for an MTD, which is who made the Yardman mower. It's got the same blade pattern. Definitely at old and busted, new hotness. Okay, I was able to take the pulley off. This is the one that was really growly. It still is growly, but it's not near as bad. I took the pulley off and then I popped this seal out and I put a little bit of 80-90 weight oil in there, and then I was able to get my needle greaser down inside of it and re-grease the bearing, so that will make that a lot better and it'll make it last longer. I'm gonna do the same thing to that one over there. Probably never been done. These are probably the original spindles. Popped the seal off of the other one. You can see the bearing. Now this is the one that wasn't growly. So since we're here, we're going to service it up. That one there is much quieter now. I love it. Let's get this one lubed up and then we can get this deck reinstalled. Got that one serviced up. I dumped some 80-90 weight in there. The idea for that is that it will trickle down and service the bearing at the bottom of the spindle. Yeah, pretty good. Put the seal back on. Definitely extended the life. We're not just running them dry now. There we go. I don't know about you, but that looks like a serviced or rebuilt deck to me. Got the bearings greased and oiled. Looks pretty good. Got all the rust fixed. Everything patched where it needed patched. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it will go pretty well with this old mower. Let's put her under there. Here it is installed. Got the new blades on. Everything looks sharp. We've got some premium welding action down here. Looks good. Looks real nice. Ought to work.
It has been a day. I fought that tire over there for about 2 hours. It's not coming off, but it doesn't leak. So that means we can leave it. I've also discovered, I'm just gonna grab that since I'm already covered in it, but I've also discovered that 802 hours of use means that your axle input is gonna be worn. There's nothing we can do about that though. I was able to get this wheel off. This one came loose. That one is welded on with rust. The puller broke. It has these bolt holes for bolts, but that one is so stuck on there that when I used that puller, the head of the bolt snapped off and the bolt turned into a projectile and it shot me right here in the finger. And then after getting this never seized and ready to go back on, after I put the tube in it, after I had found out that it was full of slime, I then looked down and noticed that the wire that I put on the brake arm was breaking. So I put the old clapped out spring back on there, and then I wrapped wire around the spring to keep it from stretching, so that now when you hit the brake pedal, you actually have brakes. Look at me, I'm covered in it. I got the schmoo all over my hands. I'm thoroughly schmooed. All right, we've got the deck installed. I fired it up in some dust, so that's why it's all dusty. Here we go. Fires right up. 822 hours. She's easily got another 822 hours in her. She's in forward. Let's go. Oh yeah. My axle modification keeps it so that you wear out the outside of your tire, not the inside. It doesn't want to pull one way or the other. Let's cut some grass. Here we go. Whoa, whoa. It blows the dust, let me tell you. Oh yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Look at it. Oh yeah, it's doing a heck of a job. Let's do some rapid shifting. Seems to shift in and out of reverse pretty good. Oh yeah, like a new one. Like a new one. Thing is running like a champ.